Let's go to Elon Musk blames elite schools for brainwashing communist trans daughter into hating him for being rich. By the way, these types of stories, you have no idea what this does to me when I read these types of stories. Oh, my God.
What page?
Just
17. Go to page 17. Here we go. Here we go. Elon Musk attributes his daughter, Vivian Jenna Wilson's distancing from him to her school's influence, stating she went beyond socialism to being a full-on communist and thinking that anyone rich is evil. He discloses the rift is deeply painful, comparing it to the loss of his first child, and laments, I've made many overtures, but she doesn't want to spend time with me. Musk reveals that in April 2022, Wilson's transformation into a fervent Marxist led to a breakdown in their relationship. He emphasizes her desire to disassociate from him by changing her name and gender, and adds she doesn't want to have anything to do with me. Musk singles out Crossroads School for Arts and Science. Can you pull up the school real quick? Crossroads School and Arts and Sciences as a contributing factor, indicating I partly blame the school for her ideological shift. He draws a parallel between the school's influence and his perception of Twitter, which he purchased later to defend free speech and counter suppression. Tom, you're a father of two daughters. What do you think about the story?
She will be back on the long walk to the middle. Trust me. She will be back. This reminds me of the young girl who ended up in a viral Twitter pic. She's sitting in an airport with a MacBook Air, expensive sneakers, holding a $7 Starbucks with a big sticker on her MacBook. Capitalism sucks, yet capitalism built everything that was in the picture with her. You remember that?
Yep.
And I feel this is the same thing. Whatever was in that girl's head is what's in Elon Musk's daughter's head. You've got these, $60,000 a year liberal teachers that think all rich people are bad, and so they're out there telling these stories about it because, I don't know, they think there's a money tree and the government's just going to give you universal basic income and all the things you want, including a MacBook Air, nice sneakers, and a Starbucks. As a father, you have to be active in your kids and you have to tell them two things: why and when. And I work a lot with my daughters on this, is the why and the when. Why are things like this, and when did it start? And let them go see the facts. I've always said that I want my daughters to have two abilities. One is to reason, and the other is to resist. And if I tell them why and when and present them facts, and I'm big on processing, Pat was an influence on me on processing. I was even more focused on processing the last 5 years as things have sped up, Pat. But I want my kids to be able to reason and resist because I tell them why things started, when they started, so they can go look it up in history for themselves. Otherwise, they're going to be sitting in a classroom like this and getting bombarded. My kids are going to sit back and go, no, wait a minute. What are you saying there? When did that start? Why did that start? What are you talking about? And they're going to be asking that. They're not going to be saying, oh, you're messed up. I love my dad and you're full of crap. No, they're going to reason right back at it.
Why do you think, you said that don't worry, she'll be back like in the moderate lane? Why are you so convinced of that?
On the long walk to the middle.
Yeah.
She's going to come back.
Why do you say that?
She's going to discover a desolate life and minimum wage existence unless she stumbles into some, wealthy artist. Whoops, I almost went into Hunter Biden land there. And can go live her life. She's going to come back to dad and realize when she's 30 years old, she's going to come back and she's going to say, I'm sorry. And she may still have her liberal viewpoints, but there's going to be a reconciliation. And I call that the long walk to the middle. You go way to the left and you slowly slide back to the middle, and suddenly you find your father's not so crazy. And I call that the long walk back to the middle from her point of extremism now, which has no consequence because she's a student. She's being supported. There's all these things she doesn't have to worry about. You know what I mean, Adam? You probably see these people in a city like Miami, a few of the fringe.
Yeah. By the way, check this out. You know this? Were you going to make a point?
I was going to
there she is.
I don't know if that's actually her though. But
no, that's not her. That's the girl.
Yeah.
That's the viral picture I was talking about.
So I don't know if I agree with you, Tom, and here's why. Pat always says, "Who's in your ear? Who's in your ear? Who's in your ear?" Clearly, she has the wrong people in her ear. And then you said, "All right, maybe she walks it back by age 30." That's 20 years from now. It's 15 years from now. She will be so far gone down that rabbit hole of the LGBT wokeness.
Plus Q.
She'll throw the Q and the pi sign and a parentheses and an asterisk in there.
Yeah.
She'll throw it all in there. And it might take decade or two for her to come back. You know, one of the things I love about what Pat says is when you're young, you idolize your parents. Then you grow to villainize your parents. She's clearly in the villainization phase. And at some point, maybe age 30, she'll begin to humanize them. But by age 30, she might have gone through a transgender reassignment surgery, whatever. I don't know what what they are, but I think she may be too far gone. And this goes back to the private school thing. It's so ironic that you're paying $50,000 a year for these private schools for your kid to end up like this. And the most ironic part of that is any family that can afford $50,000 a year for their family, they are capitalists. In order to afford a school like that, you have to be making money. You have to believe in free markets. You have to believe in capitalism, free market capitalism. So the ironic part is that the kid will then get indoctrinated to Marxism.
Why put your kids in a school like that? But you know what I do like? Were you going to say something?
I was going to say, Pat, like this, what people don't realize is this is a regional thing. You know where Crossroads is, right, Pat? This is
Santa Monica.
This is California, right? Yeah. Just like all the
Breitbart wrote a book on this school 18 years ago.
I know people that have.
You know, kids. This is a school that had menage a prom. Like you go to school with threes. Yeah. And is this what you were going to say?
Exactly what you're saying. It's regional. It's Bill Maher was on Joe Rogan a couple days ago, Pat, and that's one of the things he said. He's like, it's regional in the sense that you go to a dinner in California, Pat. If there's 10 people at the dinner, 75% of those kids are trans. It's all where they're at, Pat. And it's
they have a cross-dressing day.
Bill Maher
school has a cross-dressing day, apparently. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, according to this book written 18 years ago.
Pat, I'll tee it up for you. You've highlighted the increase in the identifying as the LGBT community. I think 20% of Gen Z identifies as this. It's doubled in the last decade.
You were about to say something.
No. What I was going to say is I love that you're saying she's going to come back to the middle, but I also love the fact that you're saying she may never come back to the middle and you may lose her for decades. The reason why both ideas need to be entertained as a parent is for the parent to know. So think about it this way. What's the longest you and I went? Think about your best friend, okay? Or one of your best friends, okay? Or a sibling. Okay, what's the longest you went, you, your father, your mother, your best friend, your sibling, what's the longest you went without talking to that person? Well, you guys had a falling out. What was the timeline? Just pick, don't give a name who it is, but what's the longest you went without talking to the two-person?
Well, I'll tell
5
you,
months.
I didn't talk
5 months, okay.
I didn't talk to my dad for a few years. We had a very contentious relationship, years.
What's yours?
3 years.
Okay, what's yours?
With my brother, like maybe 2 months, 3 months.
Okay, perfect.
Crazy.
Okay, so sometimes it happens with friends, and you have a friend, and you have a falling out, you don't talk for a month. Sometimes 6 months. Sometimes 12 months. Sometimes it's just like, look, man, we grew apart. Mm-hmm. Just we don't have the same thing. But a falling out is different than grown apart, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Imagine the next time you have a 15-year-old daughter. The next time you're able to have a friendly dinner with her is when she's 35.
It's crazy.
God.
Okay.
Lifetime.
You are 45 years old. You are not going to have another dinner with your daughter till you're 65 years old. Let's do basic math. One day, my dad is at the house, and I'm spending a Sunday with him. In LA, he used to just, Texas, he used to only come once a month, and sometimes once every other month. So once a month, he would come and he would say 3 days. And I had to have a Sunday with him. I'm looking at my dad sitting right there by the couch. And one day I just take a paper and pen and I calculate how many days I have left with him. Okay? Not days he's going to live, days I'm going to be around him. Okay? Then I did that with my kids. And I said, how many Christmases are we going to have together? How many more days are these guys going to be in my house together? Watching these guys running around doing all this stuff, right? And then after 18, it's gone, right? It's just period gone. You spend 18 years with them, and then when they leave, you're going to spend God knows how many times, or maybe 2 years in the rest of your life. I cannot even imagine going 20 years with not having a good relation with my daughter. By the way, it's happening to a lot of people because a few different reasons. One, parents don't have the ability to put them in a Christian private school. Do you know right now, every Christian private school here, so when we first moved to Florida, it was open. Like, there was not a waiting list. Mm-hmm. Today, you can't get in.
Why? Because the demand?
Supply and demand.
Wow.
Let me put it to you this way. Christian private schools have so many applications right now, they can't take more people.
Wow.
They don't have a problem with inventory right now. Their problem is we don't have room, we don't have teachers, we don't have space. So even some parents that want to put their kids in private, like I'm a millionaire, we understand. So is everybody else that's trying to put their kids into school. We don't have any room right now, okay? That always tells you how much parents are worried about putting their kids in public schools today, how concerning it is. But this whole dialogue exchange between Tom and Adam, I believe both ideas need to be entertained by every parent and not just assume they're going to come back, assume they are going to come back. But if you're 45 years old, you got 40 more years to live. You lose 20 of the years of spending time with your kids. That's a quarter of your lifetime, and that's 50% of whatever you have left. You best be entertaining and monitoring who your kids are talking to, who's in their ears by communicating with them regularly. If you're not involved in their day-to-day lives, this is how they get lost.
Yeah.
The more you talk to them and you say, hey, what did you learn today? Who were you talking to? Who's your best friend? What teacher? What did this teacher say? Parent-teacher conference. Actually, go like the other day, I went to the parent-teacher conference, and guess what I'm looking for when I watch these teachers? I'm just watching and see how weird they are. So, that's all I'm looking for.
I feel you.
I'm like, okay, yeah, she's fine. Okay, yep. He's music. Yeah, he's little, but it's cool. He's fine.
Okay.
This one, okay. And then I walk out with the music teacher. So tell me about your family. I got married, 2 kids, 30 years. Oh, great. That's great. How about you? You have to take inventory to ask the questions to learn, so it's not like a risky situation. No matter how much you do, there's still risks. Because if somebody wants to do something, they can still do it.
Yeah.
But you got to do your part. Anyways, good commentary.
Can
with
I
both
add
of
one
you.
more thing?
Yeah.
The difference between basically when we were growing up in the 80s, 90s, what have you, versus today, is that if you had a fallout with a friend or your dad or your mom or whatever, you come back, 2, 3, 5, 10 years later, you're a grown up, you're the same person, you've matured. Now when you come back, you might literally be a different sex. You leave as a daughter and hey, my son's here. You leave as a son, my daughter's here. That is the biggest concern today. It's not even just ideological family fighting. It is now full-on gender reassignment. You're a completely different human, not just a grown-up version of yourself.
And go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, go ahead.
And besides the family sense of it with, father, son, and she's transformation. She's a fervent Marxist, which I've been hearing that they're teaching that hardcore in all these liberal schools. Pat, well, we fail to understand. Those kids grow up. These are privileged kids. They're the ones that are going to be going into Congress and Senate. And that's why all the problems that we're seeing is as these people's attitudes are turning the country into, they want to be communists.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.